Police in Peoria, Illinois are searching for an arsonist who torched a Planned Parenthood clinic days after the state enacted new laws protecting abortion rights. Police say the suspect driving the pickup truck seen right here tossed a fire accelerant through a window. No one was inside the building during the attack. A firefighter was injured trying to put out the flames.
The arsonist who set fire to a Planned Parenthood in Peoria, Illinois, has been caught and charged for his crime. And this took place on January 15th. 32-year-old Tyler W. Massengill is accused of malicious use of fire and an explosive to damage and attempt to damage the clinic. It's just a horrible tragedy, but let's get into some more information about this from NBC News. The U.S. Attorney's Office said in a statement that security camera video showed a man approaching the building with a bottle, lighting a rag on one end of it, smashing a window, and putting the incendiary device inside before quickly fleeing on foot. Now, it took law enforcement over a week to track down Massengill, and he did not confess to his crime right away. Back to the NBC News report. Investigators said Massengill initially denied responsibility, but later acknowledged setting the fire. According to a US District Court criminal complaint, he told them that his then girlfriend had an abortion 3 years ago and it upset him. And he thought that if his actions caused, quote, a little delay in a person receiving services at the health center, it may have been, quote, all worth it. So the damage to the clinic is estimated to be more than $1 million, and the clinic had to be temporarily shut down due to the damage. I also just want to let people know that the clinic does offer medication abortion, but it is not a site for in-clinic procedures. If Massengill is convicted, he is facing up to 40 years in prison with a minimum sentence of 5 years. And the timing of this attack is concerning as well. ABC News reported that the incident at the Planned Parenthood clinic in Peoria happened just 2 days after Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker signed comprehensive reproductive health care legislation into law that protects out-of-state abortion seekers and allows them to get an abortion. Illinois is among a number of US states that have managed to enact legal reinforcements around abortions following the US Supreme Court's decision last year to overturn Roe v. Wade, the landmark case that legalized abortion nationwide in 1973. Now, some Peoria residents protested the attack and voiced their support for Planned Parenthood. We have a picture here from one of those protests, and a woman can be seen holding up a sign that says terrorism doesn't play in Peoria, which is a play on the common phrase, if it plays in Peoria, which is a reference to products being tested in this town before they're released nationwide. So they got out there and voiced their support for Planned Parenthood. Now, I want to say that this attack is just one of many against abortion providers and doctors. Forbes reported that abortion providers have been subject to thousands of criminal incidents since abortion became legalized in the 1970s, according to the National Abortion Federation, including 11 murders, 42 bombings, 196 arsons, and 491 assaults since 1977. I also want to mention that there have been attacks from anarchist organizations and groups on crisis pregnancy centers, one very high profile one recently. And crisis pregnancy centers are Christian institutions which often pretend to be abortion clinics and attempt to dissuade pregnant people from getting abortions. They do this by providing them with, made up information about the risks of abortion and bogus information on fetal development to try to play to their emotions. But most of the attacks on these centers are limited to vandalism, spray painting pro-choice slogans on the buildings or writing pro-choice slogans in fake blood. But there have been a handful of fire bombings on these buildings, and I'm not going to downplay the severity of that. But I do want to point out, despite the fact that there are 3 times more pregnancy crisis centers than there are abortion clinics in the United States, the attacks on the centers pale in comparison to the attacks on abortion clinics. And that's not just in the numbers, but in the severity. I mean, 11 people have been murdered in these attacks on abortion clinics, including doctors. Cenk, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, unfortunately, this piece of terrorism worked a little bit because he wanted to shut down the center for some period of time. And they're shut down for some period of time as they rebuild from the fire, and so it's going to take some time to bring them back. Meanwhile, by the way, this is not an abortion clinic. They give information about abortion and all the things that Ravana just told you, but they do other healthcare. And so now people won't be able to get cancer screenings. So this right-wing terrorist must be so proud. Oh, more women will get cancer because they couldn't get the screenings. I delayed them, yay. Oh, by the way, this guy is pro-life. As he firebombs a building and prevents healthcare that could save women's lives. They're not pro-life, they're anti-women, period. Freedom my ass. They're like, oh no, you don't get to control your body. The jackbooted thugs of the government get to control your body, but I'm for freedom. What they mean is I'm for freedom for white men to decide everybody else's lives. So, but there is a humorous element to this otherwise incredibly dark story. The good news is about these idiots, these right-wing terrorists, is that they're generally speaking the dumbest people in the country. We showed you a video about a week ago where these two right-wing knuckleheads were trying to light an immigration center on fire. They did, but they also lit themselves on fire, and that video was hilarious. And in this case, this guy does a firebombing from a white pickup truck with a red door. The most identifiable car within 3 states. I mean, look at that car. How do you miss that car? By the way, if you notice, the cops took a week to find it. I could probably find that car in an hour in that area. Okay, so not exactly criminal masterminds. And if you believe in firebombings, I got news for you: you're not pro-life.
Yeah, and I'll just supplement something that you said earlier with my own personal experience about Planned Parenthood not just providing abortions. I've never gotten an abortion at Planned Parenthood, but Planned Parenthood is my primary care provider. That is where I go to. That's my main doctor. That is where I go to receive health care. Not just for reproductive needs, but for other things. So these are organizations that provide services, particularly to low-income individuals, and they are a huge resource within communities. And these attacks are just deeply concerning.
Look, the right wing has done endless violence. January 6th, the kidnapping of the Michigan governor, et cetera. And the left wing, as a general thing, doesn't even consider that. No one's ever done a firebombing because we didn't get $15 minimum wage, right? But for the idiots that are doing the vandalism or firebombings of the crisis pregnancy centers, you're not progressive if you do that. That is, when you do any kind of violence, it is an admission of defeat of your ideas, that you're too stupid to defend your ideas, so you resort to violence instead. So no progressive should ever do anything like that. We're different than the right wing. The right wing encourages that violence with talks of, oh, you got to use your Second Amendment rights or stuff. We discourage it. Don't ever do that. And you know what mainstream media will do? They'll instantly say, oh, there was 1 instance of that, 200 instances of that, we're gonna call it even. So it's wrong on every front. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, we really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.